Money's the motivation, money's the conversation. You on vacation.
All right, guys, welcome back to Just Know This. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Thank you guys for tuning in today on this fabulous Sunday. We got some championship Sunday football going on later. Okay. So, yeah, we hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I'm DC, as you guys know.
KB.
I'm Hosti.
Back at it, dude. I like the shirt, man.
Yeah. Glad to have you back on the show.
I appreciate it. It's good to be here.
It's good.
All right, guys, let's get right into the action today. So I think we're going to start off with Hosti Hour again.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So, KB.
I'm looking for revenge. I'm just putting that out there.
Dubs only.
I'm looking for revenge.
KB. Lauri Markannen just became the fastest player to 100 3-pointers. Now, do you think this puts him in question to be the greatest shooter ever?
I do not. I will say, I got to give him some credit. That's a great accomplishment because you look at the other guys that he surpassed. Steph Curry, Ray Allen, Dirk, Reggie Miller, Michael Jordan.
Those are, oh my God.
I mean, those are Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
But the difference between those five guys that I just mentioned and Lauri Markannen is those five guys could all put the ball on the ground and drive to the basket.
Mm-hmm.
Lauri Markannen really can't do that yet. So teams, he's still a rookie. Like, teams still have to understand how to guard him, what his weakness is. So he's not going to be the greatest shooter ever. I'm giving him credit, though. That's a great accomplishment. He's just got to expand his game if he really, really wants to be in the category and stay in the category with those five guys.
Yeah. All right, Dom, let's hear what you think.
Is Lauri Markannen the greatest shooter of all time? No, he is not. Steph Curry is.
Yes.
Sorry. He's still a rookie, like KB said. He has to pass. Okay, so we have to give him credit for his accomplishment, first of all. He broke the record the earliest to make 100 3-pointers, and he did that in 41 games, which, if you think about it, is half the season, half the NBA season. His first season, that's incredible.
Yeah.
When Steph Curry did it in 58 after breaking, was it Ray Allen 74?
76.
76, yeah. So he did break a great record, but for me to consider him the greatest shooter of all time, like, you have to keep breaking records, You know what I mean? Like, breaking them at Steph's pace, but faster, if it's even possible. I mean, he's 42%. He's a great shooter, not just from three-pointer, but, like, he's 42.8% from the field. We were talking about it because he's not, like, a high-volume shooter. He is one of their better offensive players weapons on that team. He's shooting 37.3% from three, and that's good, especially for a rookie. You know what I mean? But he reminded me a little bit of Dirk. But
a little bit like Dirk.
It's a little bit, and I even wrote it down. Like, he has a really nice stroke for a big man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a 7-footer, essentially. But he has a bigger frame, and his release is a little bit quicker than Dirk's. Dirk's held his for a little bit, but that was his trademark. I mean, but he has to pass Dirk in order for me to even consider
Let me say this about the Bulls. I'm going to say it right here. This is a stamp right here. The Chicago Bulls will make the NBA playoffs next year. I'm stamping that.
With Fred Hoiberg?
Yes. If that team stays together, because...
And healthy.
Stays healthy, stays together, this is going to be a good team next year. I'm telling you, Chris Dunn, Lauri Markannen, Mirotic, Zach LaVine.
Yeah, how does everyone forget about Zach LaVine?
This is going to be a good team next year.
It's going to be interesting to watch.
We'll see.
Now, Dom, tell me what you make out of the recent scuffle going on in the NBA.
It's ridiculous. And I'm saying that as a fan, as someone who watches the game, not, just someone who watches it for enjoyment, but also likes to study it. Like, and it's ironic, or is it ironic or coincidental that this all started this past Monday? That's when it became a huge deal on Martin Luther King Day. Like, so we all heard about Blake Griffin, Chris Paul, like the Rockets and the Clippers, the whole locker room, like, just, debacle where Chris Paul had a secret tunnel to go around to get to the Rockets, the Clippers locker room. But, they just started, especially Chris Paul is the president of the Players Association for the NBA. You can't be acting like that. You know what I mean? Like, and a couple players got suspended. Gerald Green and Trevor Ariza both got 1 game suspensions from that. 1 game? That's the example you're going to set as the NBA. Like, if I'm the NBA, but because it wasn't just that day, And it really hasn't been just this past week, if you ask me. The past couple of years, we've been hearing more and more, like just on a more consistent basis, of players getting teed up, talking back, having issues with like the refs, calls they make, stuff like that. And then also on Monday night, that wasn't even the only fight on Monday night. We saw Ben Simmons and Kyle Lowry go at it in Toronto. And my point is, it's not just on the NBA; it's on the players too. Kyle Lowry, you're an NBA veteran. You're an all-star. Why are you fighting with a rookie? You know what I mean? On Monday, Aaron Aflalo throws a haymaker at Bielitsa, Pajelica.
Missed and got headlocked.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
But it's also like you could hurt someone. You know what I mean? Like, you guys are professionals. Like, and that's just a couple of examples from this week. I understand it draws controversy, but at the same time, like, these are professionals. These are their livelihoods. These are their jobs. They should act like it and not, get into fights. You know what I mean? Like, if we broke out with fights at work, like.
I disagree with you.
I love it.
I love it. This is bringing the ratings up. This is because what has been the biggest flaw, I would say, for the NBA, like, of this generation that, older generations are saying. They're saying that the NBA today is too soft. I love this. This is saying that the NBA is not soft. This is teams that are basically out of the playoff picture fighting because they still want to win. The Magic?
You said out of? Well, okay, that's one team. All the rest of those teams are playoff teams.
So are you saying
the Sixers, the Raptors,
are you saying
the Wolves?
Chris Paul and the rest of the Rockets' actions are okay?
Yes, they're okay. Because it's a competitive nature.
That's fine, but you don't have to take it.
A team's locker room.
There's limit. You're professionals.
You
have to remember that. Like,
okay.
Is it bringing ratings up? But it's bringing the image
I don't blame
down.
the Rockets for doing that. When you have Austin Rivers sitting on the bench acting like he's a top 5 player in the league, the only reason why Austin Rivers has a job is because his dad's the coach. I don't blame them for doing that.
I don't blame them, but this is also a fact. It's different when you have cameras on you, when the social media is on you, when the national spotlight and attention's on you.
Yes. But you can say in the 90s, now teams weren't going into other teams' locker rooms, but they were getting in fights. Shaq, Patrick Ewing, those type of teams. I mean, that was physical NBA, and I honestly think it's good to get back to that.
Well, I don't think it's good for the image. Like, if I'm the NBA and it's like kind of like a parent. You know what I mean? Like, if your child's like misbehaving and and you think it like looks bad on you,
it's not any worse than what the NFL is right now.
I mean,
it's really not any worse.
I just think it happens too often in the NBA. I mean, there is more games. There's more games, so that's fair. But
this is really the first year that it's happened recently.
To the extent of fights, yes. But there's been. I mean,
I love it. Keep it going. Show me that competitive nature. Show me that you want to win.
Thoughts. Away from the fights now, boys. Everyone knows the Warriors are the best team in the league right now. But their two best players, KD and Curry, aren't getting any recognition in this MVP discussion. Now, KB, what do you think about these two not really being in that mix?
I understand it. I mean, because, my biggest argument here is they each have shown that they can win when the other guy's not out. I mean, when Durant's not playing, the Warriors are 11-5, and when Curry's not playing, the Warriors are 7-1. So they can still win when these guys aren't playing. But, I mean, looking at their numbers, KD's averaging 26 points a game, 7 rebounds a game, 5 assists a game, 2 blocks a game. I mean, that's MVP numbers right there. Yeah. And then Steph, 28 points a game, 5 rebounds a game, and 6 assists a game. That's MVP numbers right there, too. So they're not going to win it, realistically, but they need to be put at least in the conversation because these two guys they're literally taking the NBA by storm. They're running the NBA.
All right, so KB, everyone knows the Warriors are the best team in the league right now, but their two best players, KD and Steph Curry, are getting no recognition in the MVP race. Now, what do you make of these guys not being in that race?
I understand it. I get it. Because, both these guys have proven that they can win when the other one isn't playing. The Warriors, when KD's not playing, are 11-5, and when Steph's not playing, they're 7-1. So when they're not playing, they can still win games.
Steph, without
yeah. Are you sure?
Without Steph, yeah, because they played more games without Steph than KD.
Okay, yeah. You're right. But if you look at the numbers, the stats, KD, 26 points a game, 7 rebounds a game, 5 assists a game, 2 blocks a game. MVP numbers. Steph, 28 points a game, 5 rebounds a game, 6 assists a game. MVP numbers. So I understand why realistically, neither one of them are going to win it just because they're on the same team and they do so much for the team. But they should at least be in conversation just because of what they do for the league. And realistically, no one can guard either one of them. So they're slowly taking over the NBA.
I feel a power shift a little bit.
What do you think?
No,
I completely agree with what essentially everything KB just said. I mean, both of them are having MVP worthy seasons. Like, those are MVP numbers easily. But I'm one of those people who always takes this award for what it actually means. Most valuable player.
Yeah.
And right off the bat, just after what you just said, which was essentially everything I was going to say, those are, if they're both doing it on the same team, they can't be the most valuable player in the league. You know what I mean? Because they're both doing it. And that shows with, you said their records without Steph, they're 11-5 now. Yeah. And then without Durant, they're 7-1. So and that's why they're the best team in the league. They have those ball players like supporting cast. And KB says this all the time. Their bench could be a starting team on this league.
They really could.
So
it could be a very good starting 5.
Yeah, and it's again, both are having great seasons, but they are going to be in the conversation just because of those numbers. Those numbers are ridiculous, and they're doing it so efficiently, which is the thing. They don't have to try that hard every night, so their bodies don't take as much of a beating. That's the thing. Their Golden State's method works, but at the end of the day, KD and Steph both knew the day KD went to Golden State, neither of them were going to win another MVP.
Unless they decide to do a little co-MVP this year.
Okay, if that happens, then this would be the time to do it. Because wow.
Yes.
I'm speechless because I cannot believe they're playing and they're not being recognized for it. Like, no one ever talks about how they're playing this.
Because we honestly take their greatness for granted. We know what they're going to give us day in and day out. Right now we're just waiting for the finals because we know they're going to be in there, and we're just waiting to see who's going to be meeting up with them in the finals.
At the end of the day, that is the truth.
Yeah.
All right. Well, bringing it from the Warriors to the Wizards now. I think it's fair to say they've been playing decent as of late.
As of late, yeah, for sure.
So, decent. Do you think they're still looked at as a threat in the East?
No, I don't think they are, especially with LeBron and Kyrie on different teams. Right. When Kyrie and LeBron were on one team, you just had to worry about the Cavs. Not just, but like in terms of, especially in the playoffs,
the biggest threat.
Yeah, well,
you knew you were going to have to get through them to get to the finals.
Yeah, because like they're young teams that are going to make the playoffs in the East this year, I believe, like the Bucks and Philly, teams like that. But they don't have the playoff experience. They could go on a run. Anything can happen in the playoffs, but I don't see it happening. And like I think the Wizards would put up good series against both of those teams. But they're 25-20, and we saw what they were earlier this season without John Wall. They were a mess. Bradley Beal had to put up 50 every time they wanted a chance to win, which is ridiculous. And so they're the 5th seed right now in the East. They play Miami. I'm taking Miami, dude.
Right now, I'm taking Miami too.
Spoelstra coaching that team. Dragic, Whiteside. They have Olenik's been playing well for them. James Johnson. Like, not big name players, but that's more to Eric Spoelstra, I feel like. He coaches his players to do, it's almost like a Belichick type thing that Pat Riley started.
Yeah.
You know, they've never had the biggest players. But going back to the Wizards, you know, they're over 500 in most of their records, 17-12 in the conference, 8-5 within their own division, and 14. They still have kept home court with 14-10 in DC. They're all over 500, but at the same time, they weren't like eye popping. You know, like they were around 500, which to me screams inconsistency. Yeah. Which is what I always think of when I think of the Wizards. Right. You know, and when we're talking about contending in the East, you need to be able to win games on the road. Especially like when you have to play against, you'd have to go to the Garden, you know, or even Toronto is a hard place to win a game.
Very hard place.
You know, so, and they're 10-11 when they're not playing in DC. I can't count on that. They need another star.
So, not a threat.
Not a threat. Because I don't see how it doesn't end up being Cleveland and either Boston or Toronto in the finals. Eastern Conference Finals, at least.
All right, KB.
I agree with Don. But I got some shit to say about the Wizards.
Right.
Why do they act like they've done something before? They act like they're walking around with rings on their fingers. Wake up, Washington! You haven't even been to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Not let alone the finals.
Yeah. Well, I think we were talking about the Eastern Conference Finals, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying, they act like I
they
said,
won a ring. Yeah,
they act like they have rings, but they haven't even gotten past the second round. John Wall and Bradley Beal are great players, but the one problem I have with John Wall, he acts like he's the best damn player in the league, but he's not. You know, we're going to talk about our top 10 NBA players and do honorable mentions. I don't even have him in my list.
Yeah, me either. He's fallen off.
He has fallen off.
And it's not because of his skill, I don't think. It's because of how he's acting.
It's his head.
Yeah.
Because like I said, he acts like he's the best player in the NBA. And that's fine. You can be that. You can have confidence
You
like
have
that.
to, yeah.
You can be cocky. But go out there and play like that.
Yeah.
When you have Bradley Beal on your team, Markieff Morris, Marcin Gortat, like, you have to be better. And first of all, they don't play any defense. I mean, they're one of the worst defensive teams in the league. That's a fact. Their bench is horrible. And when the season started, I didn't think the Wizards were going to be that good this year because I was like, this is the same team as last year. Literally the same starting five.
Yeah.
The same starting five, and they got rid of some bench players to add basically the same pieces on bench.
Yeah.
Okay? Look at the other teams in the East. What did the Cavs do? Okay, we lost Kyrie Irving. We got Isaiah Thomas and Jay Crowder. The Celtics added Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward, but obviously we know he's hurt. The Bucks added Eric Bledsoe. The Heat, I would say the Heat and the Raptors are really the only two teams that haven't added anything. But DeMar DeRozan's just playing out of his mind right now.
Definitely.
But I mean, even if you go to the Eastern Conference standings, wherever the Wizards fall, I don't really know if they can beat any team in the East in a playoff series, to be real.
Right now. But do you remember before the season started, we always made our predictions or whatever.
Yeah.
And so when we took this Washington team at face value, we liked their matchups against essentially every other team in the East, at least going up to Cleveland and Boston.
But now we're starting to see how some of these other teams are playing.
Yeah.
We're seeing,
well, that's the thing.
Okay, first of all, they're not beating the Cavs if they play the Cavs. The Celtics play too good of a defense.
They're not.
The Raptors, no one on the Wizards can stop DeMar DeRozan on the Raptors. They can struggle with the Heat, like you said earlier. They can struggle with Milwaukee. They can struggle with Philadelphia, to be completely honest.
Yes, for sure.
Who's stopping Ben Simmons and who's stopping Joel Embiid?
Yeah. Covington's playing extremely
Covington's playing well.
JJ Redick's even playing well. Finally.
They actually have guys coming off the bench that do stuff too.
Yeah. And I think this is one of the most overlooked facts. And I was going to go back to this. On paper, they stack
great.
up. So I think where does Scott Brooks fall into all of this? I think you need a new head coach.
Maybe he's my. I don't really think when they signed him, I was like, this is a great signing. This is a guy that can get this team, get a bunch of young stars, get their mind right.
Yeah,
but it's not working.
Well, I think the thing is, Wall and Beal are not Russ and Durant.
No, they're not.
Yeah, but
it's got to change, or they're going to be looking at a first round exit in the playoffs.
All right, well, good shit, guys.
Who won?
That's it for Hosti Hour. I'm gonna give this one to Dom today. Great stuff out of both of you guys. It's good to be here.
all right.
I will see you guys next week on another edition of Hosti Hour.
Ooh.